training. You got to immerse yourself in training. But Ray, you don't understand, my SL, they just don't do a lot of training. So do it for yourself. Buy a book. Right? But my DL doesn't have an office. Then you go become a DL and get one. Do you understand you're in control? Right? Communicate. You got to motivate, rewards, incentives, recognition, fun, inspiration. The webinars I do Monday and Fridays. Every time I do a tour like this, Ange, my attendance goes up for about a month. It does. We usually get about 50 to 60 people logged in. I know a lot of DLs log in, so they have their teams with them. So there's about 400 ears on the webinar on Mondays and Fridays. But then I do a tour like this. People go, he has a webinar twice a week? Oh, yeah. Like, how do I get on that thing? Right? And then they log in for like a weekday, and that's about it. And you stop. It's inconvenient, apparently. You know what's even funnier for me, Susie? If you're doing it from home and you decide to check Facebook, it tells me you're no longer paying attention. The percentage of the people that aren't in a DL office that leave the screen to check an email or Facebook is about 70%. I get a report at the end of the call. I can print it out, Troy. It'll say what percentage of people paid attention. Yes. And I have cameras that can see everything you people do. And there's some weird... You're here, you're at the kickoff meetings, but it doesn't mean, Angie, you can't do one. Derek, you can't do one. Where you bring your people together and create a series of events that keep people moving. Op nights, super important. One-on-ones. Nothing more powerful than doing a one-on-one with somebody, no question about it. Spousal interviews. Don't forget how important it is to have a partner support in this business. Who do they have to listen to more than anybody? Right? That person, they need your support, their support. The trips and incentives. Guys, I don't get why people don't fight. I always try to be creative people, I don't really care about a free trip. What are you talking about? I have $4,000 in my pocket, I'll give that to you. Well, I'll take that then. It's the same thing! The long trip's about $4,000 a couple, and the shorter trip's about $3,000 a couple. So if you strive to win 2 trips a year for you and your partner here as a couple, that means you guys just save $7,000 a year in family vacations. Well, that's not a horrible thing. Do you know how many people, their idea of a vacation is camping in their aunt's backyard? True? Guys, you have to understand, we have so much to offer, right? All roads should lead to the next trip. Every person needs to meet here with their leader, their sales leader, their district leader, and say, tell me what I need to do to win the next trip. But I also want to tell you the truth. If you can't win the trip or get a bonus as an SL, become a rep. Stop fooling yourself. This isn't a business of titles. It's a business of profit. Right, Darren? If an SL can't get bonused, would they get bonused as a rep more likely? Yes. I had a guy said, best example I heard of a bonus in my whole life. He goes, there's no bonuses in this business, Derek. He goes, it's only a reduction of pay if you don't do what you should. That's what a bonus is. It's a reduction of pay if you don't do what you should. Because if the company's offering it, you better get it. Get it? And if you're a district leader and you don't bonus and win trips, be a sales leader. I have 43 district leaders, but I actually have 14. I have 43 that have the contract. I have 14 that actually get to capitalize on it. That's fine. They can be districts forever. I don't care. Love them. Stay forever. But the point of the matter is, how do you get people to follow you if you don't have something worthy of following? You know, if every time you look behind you, there's nobody behind you, something's wrong with you. And I'm not being mean about that. I was that guy. I couldn't get people to follow me because I didn't understand how important they were. When I figured out how important people were, I started to become a better leader. They're everything. Trust me, right? Guys, you've seen these numbers a million times and they're dead on. And I don't want you to miss this. So here's how it works, simply. If you want to get 3 active agents, in our zone, an active agent does $2,000 a week in APV. That would be $6,000 in APV, yes? To do do that, you need to go get 90 prospects. So if I got 90 names and numbers today, Darren, if I called them, 30 will say yes to go to school, but 10 will only get to school. Does that sound fair, Darren? Trent, that sound right? That sounds shitty though, doesn't it? That's a lot of prospects. Who thinks that's a lot of prospects? That's about this room twice. Right? Or, if you do it the way I did it, and I'm not saying you should, but I did recruit 10,000 people. I recruit you, and you come in the business, and I get a list of 30 from you. And I recruit you and get a list of 30 from you, and recruit a list and get a 30 from you. Did I get my 90? Yes. How many people can get 3 names and numbers in the next 24 hours? Just put your hand, indulge me, please. Because otherwise you're ridiculous. And I went around the room and we asked why people wouldn't do it. And one guy goes, well, fear. I go, well, what fear is bigger? Fear of being broke? Fear of having a crappy job? Fear of saying no to your children? Fear of not having money? One of my children were sick and I put them in a clinic in Arizona. It was $250,000 US. You know what I didn't do? GoFundMe. I didn't borrow money from somebody. When my mom was dying, I paid all her bills. Took her on a trip. Took care of her financially. When my dad was dying, paid all his bills. Took care of him. Yeah, it was worth me talking to you 3 then. To get 30 names. To get 30 names. To get 30 names. Yeah, but Ray, I don't know where to get those names. Well, there's these places called outdoors. I'll wait for a second. There's people in these places called outdoors. You know, stores, Tim Hortons, restaurants, grocery places. Do you know people go there? Like real living people. And you're in front of me in Tim Hortons, and you've all heard me do this. And you make eye contact with me, and I go, man, can you believe how busy it is in here? Because, of course, it's busy. It's Tim Hortons. I did a meeting for Angie over at that hotel that you do your meetings. I went to that little drive-through Tim Hortons. Holy crap, that place is busy, right? I'm like, man, these guys are just crazy. Most pleasant servers, by the way, I ever had, ever, right? I mean, they're super, super. But I'm sitting there, I go, I had a lot of time to talk to the guy beside me because they're so busy, right? And I'm getting jugs of coffee for the meeting and stuff like that. So I say, hey, you know, can you believe how busy it is here? If he says, yeah, it's crazy, he's mine. If he says, yep, and looks away, I'm out. I'm not going to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't want to have a conversation. But if he wants to have a conversation, then we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to go, oh, so you must come to this Tim Hortons a lot? Yeah, I work in the area. Oh, what do you do for a living? I do this. Do you love it? I don't love it. Hey, listen, man, I don't know. Our company's expanding. They're looking for young, motivated people that want to make a 6-figure income. My buddy Darren would entertain a call. You keep your options open? Give me your name and number. I pass it to Darren. I don't have to answer another question. Darren, when we did this about 3 years ago at Christmas, how many numbers did you guys get? Do you remember?
We got about 45.
In Lethbridge. With a bunch of people that don't prospect. Or pardon me, don't 3-foot rule recruit, they prospect. Did you get it? So if there's 140 people in here and all of you went and got 3 names, the next meeting we do here is 560 to 700. Yeah, but Ray, all 3 aren't going to do it. No, one will, and one will give me 30 more names. Guys, don't miss the power of progressive recruiting. That's how I built it. How do you think my business in a place called South Oshawa, so for those who don't know Ontario, I was in far east, I was in a GM town. So everybody that lived there either worked for General Motors or a General Motors feeder plant. So it was all undereducated, blue-collar people making 80 to 100 grand a year. And they all believed their benefits were the bee's knees because they didn't know any better. So I found a niche in that market, and I broke into that market, and I made $1 million a year in an area where, honestly, it's like being in part of Detroit on 8 Mile. It was just a horrible neighborhood. Like you'd want to wear Kevlar there at night. I'm not kidding, it's still like that today. But I had an office smack dab in the middle of this horrible neighborhood, but still made $1 million a year there. See, people go, yeah, well, you understand, it's my geography. No, it's not. It's all you. Your geography inside your brain. That's the geography problem. It's not the geography where you live. Darren and I were talking about going into Northwest Territories, which I think we're going to be able to do now, Darren. I think we got it approved for this year. People go, well, I don't know what Northwest Territories. I damn well do. There's only one other insurance company up there. Let's have at it. And it's all skilled trades. They all get broken fingers, stitches, and all that stuff. Do you understand? Guys, let's have at it. I don't care where you go. I don't think Derek did a population census of Red Deer. He's not McDonald's. Yes, Red Deer's got the right people. Derek. I mean, the guy doesn't even own a calculator. Sorry, man, I know you don't, so it's fine, right? That's why I'm an assistant. But guys, these numbers are real. These numbers are real. And the only way to beat the numbers is to work the numbers. And they take care of everything else. I always say to people, you all either beat the numbers or the numbers will beat you. It's up to you. And that adage is simply, if you don't play them, you're beat. You just can't change those odds. It's just the way it is. But if you're going to do this, guys, with us over the next 90 days, and go for it, you got to negotiate with your family. You do. You got to tell them what you're going to do. And you got to enroll them in it. See, if your family doesn't see value in what you do, they can't support you. Do you not think my kids have seen value over the years in what I do? Of course. It changed their life, right? You got to deal with distractions and work distractions. We all have distractions. I said this morning, I go, if you're having marital problems, just sit down with your wife or husband and say, listen, we can finish this fight in 90 days. Just shelf it for that. Now, for the women, you remember what the fight was about. For the men, you won't. 90 days later, is it 90 days yet? No, do you remember what we were talking about? I have no clue what you're talking about. You looked at that girl in the mall. What are you talking about? Right? All other distractions. Guys, I remember I was talking to James Fuchs on one of the trips, and he was really concerned, Darren, about doing a 90-day blitz. He's like, Ray, but, it's summer, and, I want to go fishing, and I'm on my trailer, and I do that. I go, then you don't know what the 90-day blitz is. Darren, I said this to you, right? I go, the blitz isn't about working 7 days a week, 168 hours a week. The blitz is about getting more time to use by giving up things you don't need to do. It's that simple, guys. Be clear. You got to clear those distractions. Clear the deck. That's all that stuff that distracts you. If you're dealing with something, get rid of it. Deal with it. Shelf it. End it. Put it to an end so you can move on and grow your life. Chores, hobbies, to-do list. You need a fresh list of prospects. I was saying that a lot of people, through New Year's and Christmas, they'll text you they haven't seen for a while. So far, there's this girl I bumped into from high school about 4 years ago at Walmart. And I haven't talked to her since we exchanged numbers in Walmart. And she texted me on Christmas Day, hey, Merry Christmas, hope your family's well. And I'm like, hey, Monica, great to hear from you. Let's catch up in the new year. You know what a catch-up meeting is? Nothing. We're going to go for a coffee, but then who knows what will happen, right? Because you know what happens, Darren, when you see somebody you haven't seen for a while? So what are you doing these days? Those questions are normal. And you got to do that without agenda. Now, some of you guys go, well, I didn't get any of those texts. I don't know who to call. Then go through your phone and say Happy New Year to some people you haven't talked to for a few years. It's not too late. It's never too late, right? You got to warm up your list. That's what I'm talking about. Reach out with no agenda. See, if I did this with Angie, I don't know where Angie's at. We haven't talked for 4 or 5 years. We have a coffee. For all I know, she's trying to recruit me. I don't know. Or maybe we're just having a coffee. And maybe Angie loves her job, so when we start asking questions, what are you doing? She tells me she loves her job and her life is great. Well, then I'm not going to try to recruit Angie. That's dumb. But now I have a potential prospect because she loves her job, has a great career, married, kids, right? I'll circle back with Angie in a week or two. Hey, Angie, it was really great seeing you. I got to thinking. It sounds like you got great things going on. And I specialize in making sure families never go through a financial crisis if things go wrong. Could I come over and bring coffees and sit with you and Tony and show you what I mean? Right? All part of the 90-day agenda, man. Reach out, reach out, reach out all day long. Don't underestimate it. Mindset. My favorite mindset book is called Mind Power in the 21st Century. And I really respect the people that were texting me and asking me for the name of it again. Mind Power in the 21st Century. You'll have to order it online. You can't get it. For those who've seen the movie The Secret or read that book, this is basically the working manual. This book was written in the 70s by a guy named John Keogh, and it will teach you everything you need to do to manage how you think. But Mind Power in the 21st Century by John Keogh. If you Google it, it comes up immediately. I sent the link right away to Joanne Jessup and her daughter Jessica when she asked me for it a few minutes ago before I came up here. But guys, it is so powerful because what I love most about it is that it doesn't just tell you about having the right mindset, it teaches you how to fix it. The example he uses in the book to start, he goes, your brain is like a magnifying glass. If you take a magnifying glass and put it on a piece of paper in the sun for a long period of time, what happens? Paper lights on fire, right? He goes, your thought power works the exact same way. He goes, the problem with most people, they have weak and scattered thoughts, and they expect to have a powerful outcome. You have to have concise, focused thoughts to get what you want. That's how you beat the game. I actually, some of you guys did that Mind Power course I did last year, and I'm going to do a full one. Everything's with legal now. I had to rewrite the whole program. So I've literally spent 2 months rewriting the program. It's a 3-hour course I'm going to do on Sunday nights via webinar. But it's a live webinar. You have to participate. If you can't participate, I'm only going to allow 100 people to participate. You'll get a workbook every week. To take this course with John Keogh, because he's the one that taught it to me, would be about $4,000. We'll send you the workbooks for free. They're all combined branded now. Legal's just cleaning up some of the verbiages. And I'm going to give it my Sunday night for 4 consecutive weeks. But you have to be at your computer. I would respect if you did it in groups because there's only 100 seats. So if Angie says, well, I want to do it, then you bring 20 people to your house and do it as a group so we can give it 20 seats. You get it? Yeah, but Ray, it's a Sunday night. Yeah, it's my Sunday night too, my friend. And I'm already financially independent. I've already done the course 25,000 times. I got this, right? But I just know how much of a difference it would make. It really would. And hopefully we'll get that announced very soon. But if you're not on one of my webinars, you'll miss the announcement and you'll miss the registration and you won't be on it. Just so you guys know. Okay? You got to clean up your workplace. You got to clean up your workplace, guys. No question about it. You can't be cluttered in your workspace. Some people go, yeah, but I'm fine like that. No, you're not. Disorganization is disorganization. You will lose a name, a lead, a number, a check. You will. You've got to make sure you're organized, right? Prepare your calendar, set start and end times. Guys, I'll tell you something. That group I just said, listen, an hour a day. It's simple. Just get up an hour earlier. Well, I don't want to. Then you don't want to be rich. Steve Wynn owns the Wynn and Encore in Las Vegas. I know Steve. I'll tell you a couple things about Steve. He's almost blind. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. Nice guy. You know he'd give all of his money to have his eyesight back? Every single dollar he said he would give away to be able to see clearly again. But you know what's most interesting about Steve? It was New Year's Eve 2 years ago, and they were working on a project in Vegas, and he was in a meeting till midnight. But he's already a billionaire. Broke people were drunk. True or false? See, don't want what somebody else has if you're not willing to do what they did to get it. You know, most of you guys know I was in Vegas because a lot of it was through the webinars and stuff for New Year's because I can. It's the most expensive time to go to Vegas. Direct flights, $3,000. Hotels, $1,000 a night. We went and saw the Leafs game. That was interesting. But we had a lot of fun. You know, went and saw a Michael Jackson show while we were there and just walked the strip. See, it's not like New York where you got to wear a diaper because you can't pee anywhere. I'm not going to do that. I mean, that could happen when I'm older anyway, so why start now? Sorry. Okay, that's funny. But it was awesome because the strip's wide open. They shut it down. It's not crowded like that. It was just really cool, you know? I'm not going to all the clubs and the parties. That's not my thing, but that might be other people's thing. But I get to make those choices. Because I made the right ones more than the wrong ones. I get to make those choices. You know, my life is anything but perfect, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I get to do some pretty cool stuff. You know, I've traveled the world with my family. I've already booked 2 trips to Europe. I'm a big Michael Bublé fan, love him. He's actually a friend of mine. And he's only doing 2 shows next year, one in London and one in Dublin, Ireland. I have platinum backstage passes to go see that in Cork Park in Dublin in July. Because I can. Maybe that's not your thing, but what is? Guys, 25 years ago, I was moving home with my mom at 28 after my house was repossessed, my car was repossessed, my wife was repossessed. Still had to make payments on her ranch. You think they take the shit back, you don't have to pay for it anymore. Not the way it works in marriage. Right, Troy? Anyways, you gotta make a plan, and when you're starting, and when you're doing things, and the best way is to get more time in your day is to take more time in your day. I don't know how it is I have more energy than most 20-year-olds I know. Actually, all 20-year-olds I know. I could go 16, 17 hours a day and not miss a beat. Oh, actually, I do know how. I'm excited about life. I'm not easily distracted by negatives. And I had to deal with a lot of them through the holidays. A lot of stuff went on in my family. My daughter Sydney was very sick. She ended up in a merge 2 weeks before Christmas, and the merge doctor overreacted and told me she had leukemia. I didn't act like most people. I canceled all my appointments. I just sat and played with my daughter and waited till the next round of tests. Still took my phone calls, still did my webinars, but I just didn't leave her side. Yet again, proud moment. Cassie was on her way to Ardmore when we got this news. And she called me, she cried. She goes, "Dad, I can't go. I just want to come and be with Sydney. I can remember everything I taught you, Cassie. Sydney's fine right now. She's just sick. And she'll be here on Friday. Go fulfill your responsibility to the people that are counting on you this week. And you come hang out with me and Sydney for the weekend." Choices. Choices. You're all going to have them. You're sitting in front of a man who never overreacts. I wait and see. You guys didn't know that. You all work directly with me. You know? I just believe that everything in life works out. And you want to hear something really weird, Ange? Everything seems to for me. Funny how I believe that, and it is. Not going to tell you I wasn't scared. Not going to tell you I didn't cry a lot. But you know what I got that some of you guys wouldn't have? I would have had every last minute with that child, and I would have poured money into every medical facility on this planet to fix it. And that's why Cassie was confident, because she knew if there was a medical facility and a doctor on this planet, I would write any check, because I can. And you say, "But Ray, you could run out of money." But I wouldn't run out of friends that would give it to me. Because I made a difference for so many people. It would be 20 phone calls and it'd be $2 million later. How do you want to live your life? It's up to you. It really is. You got to warm up your prospects. One of the lines I always use with people when you start a campaign like this, I call up Angie and go, "Angie, I wanted to talk to you first. I'm starting this campaign to make a difference for people and create financial independence. You're one of the first people I want to talk to you about it." See, guys, recruiting isn't recruiting. It's enrolling people into an idea and a concept. That's what it is. People are too busy trying to get a recruit. Nobody wants to be gotten, right? Go and do something special for people, right? Prepare your story. Guys, what have you heard from me for this last 90 minutes? Story after story. You all have them. I mean, Angie's story that she told on the trip and at the convention of what she went through as a child is empowering. Sylvia Buller Isaac, who from born and raised in this country, who was left abandoned at 4 months in a crib to die, to spend the better part of her youth with abandonment issues, obviously, to have her mother murdered in cold blood while her husband was dying. But she's the one that says every piece of adversity is the fertilizer for your growth. Or she could be resentful and say how horrible life is to her. I have somebody close in my life, I won't say who it is because they're close enough that you could connect the dots. But this person blames God for everything bad in their life. I'm like, how does that make sense? God gave us this wonderful thing. Do you guys know what it is? Free will. Free will. Love my mom. I was raised in a very strong Catholic background, Catholic family. And we'd go to church every Sunday till my mom and dad broke up. Because then my mom decided it was God's fault that my mom and dad broke up. And I remember 20 years later, I'm an adult, and I was actually studying to be a deacon in the Catholic Church. That will start to help you understand the depth of my spiritual belief. Whether I believe the Catholic Church is the right place or not is irrelevant. I'm Catholic. I can make fun of Catholics. Okay, just so you know, so if you're Catholic, I get it. You sin till Sunday, confess Sunday, start again Monday. Right? And I remember saying to my mom, I go, Mom, God didn't make you marry Dad. Oh, but He allowed it. My very short, drunk Irish mother. It's her wisdom. I said, that's ridiculous. I go, we have a gift called free will and you used yours. You get it? You're all using it every single day. Prepare a story. Identify an opportunity presenter, you, your upline, somebody else. If you're not ready to do a presentation effectively, use somebody in your organization. They will do it for you. There's no question. A whisper campaign is just what I'm talking about above, where you get out there. You got to build an inner circle. Yeah, but Ray, I'm by myself here. Great. It's going to be easy then. You get to start fresh. Right? Be very clear, guys. I started this, what we call Field Advisory Council, that we announced a few people on, and congratulations to Derek and Tony and Ange for qualifying for that this year. I think there's only 2 in the room. Give them a round of applause. And the program's out. Trent, Troy, Darren, all the other DLs, Jackie, you guys could all qualify for it. You got to do like $750,000 in premium for the year, be in the top 15 DL, and then I picked the top 5. Yeah, but Ray, well, that means it's subjective. Here's the tiebreaker. Recruits. That's it. Haley came back from that, and she goes, Dad, I got to win that. I go, here's the guidelines. You know, go do this and be the biggest builder. Doesn't mean she has to be the biggest recruiter. It means she has had to grow her recruiting the most. So that's going to be pretty easy for her, because it was 9. 90 would be good. She would have a shot at it. You understand what I'm saying? But guys, what they get another trip with only 6 or 10 people, with a 3-hour meeting for them to voice everything they need for the next quarter in combined. And then a quarter from now, they get on a conference call with the executive board of the company to verify what things have been actioned, what's not actioned, and what won't be actioned, and what will be actioned. And every quarter they get that. They got matching jackets, blazers. They got matching golf shirts and a plaque. You guys might go, no, I don't really care about that. Man, that is the most proud recognition I ever received. In that other company, they had different levels, but the first one I got was something called a pace setter. And my mom was dying of cancer, and I knew I was getting this recognition. And man, I'm one of those kids, I was this short, chubby kid that everybody made fun of in school, right? And I stayed in that recess because of it. My mom was just, she's one of those great, you know, if any kids got kicked out of the house, they ended up living in our house. She's one of those people. Everybody lived in our house at some point, right? Just this wonderful, loving woman. And she was dying of cancer, and I thought I was going to get recognized, Jerome. And I called the CEO of the company. I go, I'd really like to bring my mom, and these trips are packed. They do like 1,500 couples or something like that. And John never called me back, the CEO, but he sent me an email saying, we'll allow your mom to be at the awards banquet, and my mom's twin sister and my sister, because they were her caregivers. And they put her right here. And I walked across that stage and got that ugly baby blue jacket. At least yours are black. They're nice. I do. Right? And I'm walking off the stage, and my mentor at the time, a woman named Frances Avery, came to meet me first. And she hugged me. She goes, your mom is so proud of you. This is the same woman that watched me go through being wealthy at 25 to being bankrupt, to moving into her house with my 3 babies, to live with her for a year and a half until I got my feet back on the ground. And now was dying of cancer, and I paid for all her naturopathic medicine, which was $2,000 a month. I paid her mortgage, her heat, her hydro, this trip to Vegas that she wasn't even supposed to be alive for. And she was just pulling. You know how many no's that was worth? Do you know how many prospects that quit on me that was worth? Do you know how many chargebacks that was worth? Do you know how many compliance problems that was worth? Because it's all part of building a business, man. Thousands. My next favorite memory was when my dad was sick and dying. I used to do a quarterly meeting, and I'm expecting you guys or Derek or one of you guys to start to do these big meetings. And it was at the Metrotronic Convention Center, a place called John Bassett Theatres, where they used to film Canadian Idol. And I'd rent it every quarter, and we'd have 2,000 people there. And I had a videographer do a tribute video to my dad's life. And I invited him to come to this particular meeting. Haley was 10. And Haley is an overachiever. She had a 97.6 grade average in one of the toughest schools in the world. While she did that, she was competitive, dancing 30 hours a week, and passed her grade 8 piano, and was a singer. She's a very talented young woman. And Haley walked out, so my dad's side stage, he's on oxygen 24 hours a day, long stage, probably like this room. And Haley's at the side of the stage with her grandfather and my dad's girlfriend, and Haley comes out and sings a cappella to her grandfather, If I Had a Dream. And then I go to the podium, my dad comes out, and I put my hand on his shoulder, and he's shaking. He's so emotional. We play this tribute video to his life in front of 2,000 people. They cry, they cheer. I saw my dad cry twice in his lifetime. He hugged me as he started to bawl. He said, thank you. Thank you, son. It was horrible going to his house after that. He'd make me watch this video over and over again. And the second time was when he called me and told me he was going to lose his house. They couldn't live there anymore because he just couldn't handle the bills, and he was dying and sick. And I said, well, Dad, live with us. We have 7 bedrooms. He goes, son, I'll never do that. So I called my lawyer and gave him the address, and I said, could you please tell me what my dad's house worth? And he says, worth $300,000. He lived up north in this little place on the lake. And I said, can you wire $300,000 to my dad and arrange to have his house switched to my name, and I'll just keep it when he goes, and he can have the cash now. I called my dad back. I was in Vegas at the time, and I said, hey, Dad, listen, man, don't worry about your house. I'm just going to buy it, and I'll keep it, and put the $300,000 in your bank, live on that. And I've hired you a house cleaner, somebody cut your grass, somebody do your shopping, and you've never owned a new car, so there's a new one being delivered to your house next week, so you have a brand new car for a change. Second time, I heard him cry. Do you know it was a short 15 years before that? I was pawning stuff to pay hydro.